The camera comes on with a shot of the live crowd in the Rogers Arena in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. As pyro goes off around the stage area, Violet Orlandi's cover of Black Sabbath's War Pig starts to play through the arena. Generals gathered in their masses. Just like witches at black masses. Evil minds that plot destruction. Sorcerer of death's construction. In the fields, the bodies burning. As the war machine keeps turning. Death and hatred to mankind. Poisoning their brainwashed minds. Oh Lord, yeah! Politicians hide themselves away. They only started the war. Why should they go out to fight? They leave that role to the poor, yeah. Time will tell on their power minds. Making war just for fun. Treating people just like pawns in chess. Wait till their judgment day comes, yeah. Now in darkness, world stops turning. Ashes where their bodies burning. No more war pigs have the power. Hand of God has struck the hour. Day of judgment, God is calling. On their knees, the war pigs crawling. Begging mercy for their sins. Satan laughing, spreads his wings. Oh Lord, yeah! The Warzone logo comes up onto the screen as a series of pyro goes off. The now normal drone flyby on the arena goes across as the graphic shows the audience at home that 17,855 fans, of a capacity of 19,700, had joined the CWF tonight in the Rogers Arena. The drones head down, park in front of Ben Price and Fast Eddie Vega at the announcer's table. Ben Price, welcome to the 4th episode of Season 3 of Conquest Wrestling Presents, Warzone. And what a show we have for you tonight. We're going to be starting off by saying, the 4WW continues to take shape tonight. Everyone else will be made whole with title belts for 4 Wins Wrestling will get them tonight. Eddie Vega, including the Bastards. They were one of the teams mentioned on last Warzone that they were invited here. And we saw on Vanguard the Upstarts are here, and they're now bearing 3 titles. They are now the 4 Wins Wrestling Legion champions to replace the trio's titles. And Tetsuo Oni is the Tempest champion. Ben Price and next Vanguard will have a contenders match to see who will challenge her at Shadow Warfare for that Tempest championship. But Abigail Dresden, her teammate and also the CWF Valor champion, is also now the Albion champion, meaning she represents the United Kingdom and Commonwealth countries. Eddie Vega, and tonight in our main event, she'll be facing Greg Salazar, who claims to have challenged for the Valor title a year ago. Ben Price, he did back when he was wearing the Tetsuo Oni mask. But things have definitely changed. We'll also see his teammate in Bad Company take on Rob Riot tonight in Kara Reinhardt's first singles matchup. Eddie Vega, and my man, Frank Windsor, will be taking on Father Nathan. I don't know why this Father Nathan guy is getting a shot at the #1 contender for the Conquest title. So he'll just be a stepping stone for Frank. Ben Price, Gabriel Tuck will be taking on Miz O'Rourke in Apathy later on, as Owen O'Rourke will be taking on Ira Waters, who assisted the Lone Wolf against O'Rourke. Eddie Vega, Ira Waters doesn't want any of O'Rourke. They've gone and made it personal. Ben Price, and we'll be starting off the show with Bastard vs. Upstart, as Eddie Williams will be taking on the Dreadnought Miguel Lanza, Jr. Eddie Vega, but I'm told we're going to first get to a pre-taped segment here as the owners of the CWF and 4WW, both old and new, meeting with the Bastards. Let's see what's going on. We go to a pre-recorded segment from earlier this evening. The screen shows a Compass Rose logo with the initials for WW next to it at the bottom left of your screen, in the middle it says a couple of hours ago. It appears to be in a studio room setup on site at a hotel or at the arena, somewhere in the back. The 3 owners of the CWF and the current board of 4 Wins Wrestling, seated on high stools. Armand von Kraus at the left, Valora Salinas on the right, and Ian Childress in the middle, taking the helm as the man behind the new and old for Wins Wrestling. Next to Mr. Childress is a table with 2 velvet-covered belts on it. We know these are belts because these same covers with the 4WW Compass Rose and White were used on the ones handed to the upstarts on Vanguard. Of course, the classic belt shape is also there on the currently hidden trinkets. Valora Salinas, all right, we're ready. Let's bring them in. The camera shows one of the primary security team who work with Yukio Kushinaga. McClancy steps over to a set of double doors and opens it. He looks off to one side. Security guard, they're ready for you now. He then moves out of the way as the 3 members of the Bastards walk in, wearing their business suits and looking very much like the force they are. They take a position in front of the 3 owners, Riot lining up with Valora, Windsor with Vaughn Krause and Williams with Childress. Frank Windsor, all right posh knobs? Rob Riot, I don't think they're all posh. Mia Moore over there isn't posh. Are Native Americans usually posh? Eddie Williams, they're all rich from running casinos, aren't they? Rob Riot, I'm pretty sure that's racist. Frank Windsor, that's not racist. Racist would be saying he. Rob Riot, cutting across him, I don't think we need clarification on that point, Frankie. What we do want is clarification about why we're here. Thanks for the invitation. Lovely to be in a room with the stuffed suits. I promise I won't murder Nosferatu over there, yada yada yada. But, why? Frank Windsor, such a diplomat. With that, the trio pauses for long enough to let someone else get a word in. Ian Childress, well, I'm sure you all saw what happened in the ring on Vanguard. So, no need for big introductions or anything like that. So, I'll start off with the man who got the biggest screw job out of all of this mess. And the one whose screw job led to Valora and I getting lawyers and accountants to take a look at how Censored was doing business. And that would be you, Mr. Williams. Eddie Williams, please tell me you didn't just invite us here to insult us, specifically me, after what went down. Ian Childress, no. I have to say, I was actually impressed by everything you were doing over there. A world champion, a TV champion, and you should have won the other world title. And well, while it's not aired, we all saw you win the underground title, even though they won't show it. Thankfully, we've actually been releasing videos we've acquired from the audience, as well as ourselves, and posting it online. There is a momentary brief pause here, before Eddie Williams breaks in. Eddie Williams, can we get on with this, as I have actual important things to be doing? Valora shakes her head at that. Ian grabs one of the velvet-covered title belts and pulls it up to his lap. Ian Childress, you know, Mr. Williams. I don't have to do this. But I did so with the upstarts and bad company. If I didn't, you'd just go about claiming it was another Von Krause conspiracy against the Bastards. I'm not Von Krause. But, as this is a 4WW function, I'm currently in the lead here. I've got you here to recognize what you've done. To make you whole, as much as I can for what you accomplished. If you don't want that recognition, you could go about doing whatever you think is more important. Eddie Williams, okay, you have got my attention. Let's hear what you have in mind. Ian grins and looks at Valora for a moment. Ian Childress, well, you were right. Self-serving to the end. Ian then turned back to Eddie. Ian Childress, well, to start off. You, Mr. Williams, you had gone into enemy territory and you were kicking ass and taking names. To start, you had claimed their junior brand's big title. Then you had secured the big brand's TV title. And we all saw in the pay-per-view that will not air, you win their underground title for the Interfed. Now, I'll be blunt. I can't give you 4 titles. But that last one, the Underground Belt. Their version of our elite title. The Gimmick Belt. He then pulls something out of that velvet bag. It's a title belt that has a skull prominent on the middle section, broken up and looks to be something a federation would use for an extreme or hardcore title. Ian Childress, back when the 4WW was its own fed, all of our pay-per-views were under the Maelstrom banner. And of course a maelstrom is a strong, powerful storm or whirlpool. So, we figured it would be a great place to put the 4WW's version of that gimmick hardcore title. So Mr. Williams, I'd like to offer you, to replace that underground title, the Maelstrom title belt. Eddie Williams, okay. Well, that, I guess, is a start at putting things back to the way they were before the split. Eddie took a moment to look at the title. Eddie Williams, it appears that we might have a good business relationship moving forward. Ian Childress, currently, we're not planning on this title being defended at Shadow Warfare. However, it being the gimmick title, we are extending an invite for you to of course consider vying for the Elite title in the Elite X match. You just have to say yes, and you'll be booked in the match. But the Maelstrom title will not be on the line in that match, so it would be safe around your waist. Eddie Williams, damn right you can add my name to that match. Never been one to back down from a fight. Valora Salinas, consider it signed and done, Mr. Williams. Congratulations, you earned that one. I will actually wish you luck in the Elite X match as well. Ian Childress, as will I. And at that, a graphic comes up saying to be continued before the camera cuts back to the announcers for Warzone. Ben Price, welcome back. And Eddie Williams is now the 4WW Maelstrom champion, their version of our Elite title, with all the gimmick and hardcore fights in his future. Eddie Vega, a fitting title holder to start off the legacy of the Maelstrom title. But now, let's get to him facing the biggest of the upstarts, in Miguel Lanza. Eric Wilson, ladies and gentlemen, the next match is set for one fall. Introducing first, he hails from Patillas, Puerto Rico. Standing 6 feet, 10 inches tall and weighing in at 355 pounds, he is 1/3 of the Four Winds Legion champions and is accompanied to the ring by CWF Valor champion and the Four Winds Albion champion and 1/3 of the Four Winds Legion champions Abigail Dresden and is a member of the upstarts, the Dreadnought Miguel Lanza Jr. Won't back down by disturbed plays over the PA and Miguel Lanza Jr. comes out from the backstage area, Abigail moving along with him, doing her part to encourage the positive reaction from the crowd. This is a feat that doesn't take much doing as the fans of British Columbia, Canada jump to their feet for the young upstarts. They make their way down to the ring, every so often mingling with the fans. As they reach ringside, Miguel takes his Legion title and hands it to Abigail. Ben Price, Miguel Lanza Jr. comes down to the ring. Once more, Abigail is with him and though not at ringside now, we can assume Pacific Rim and Tetsu Oni 4 are somewhere nearby. Eddie Vega, well aside from Abigail looking like a walking pile of titles, you have to wonder why we keep seeing Miguel and Abigail. I'm telling you, there is something going on. Ben Price, Abigail definitely inherited the British looks, but she is half Mexican. Have you thought that Miguel is close to her age and can help her learn about her Hispanic heritage so that she has more than just her mother to get that from? Besides, as I told you, Abigail and Miguel give off more sibling vibes than anything. Eddie Vega, we should place bets. Eric Wilson, and introducing his opponent. He hails from Cambridge, England, United Kingdom. He stands 5 feet, 11 inches tall and weighs in at 215 pounds. He is the Four Winds Maelstrom champion and a member of the Bastards, Eddie Williams. The ramp starts to flood with smoke. A figure appears in the entranceway with his arms crossed. A series of fireworks go off along the top of the entrance ramp. The light adjusts back to normal. Havoc starts to walk down the ramp. He slowly and methodically makes his way toward the ring, bathing in the reaction of the fans within the arena. Eddie enters the ring standing with his arms raised and fireworks go off from the 4 turnbuckles. Walking over to the furthest turnbuckle and climbs up to the middle rope. He looks out across the crowd. As his music dies down, he waits near the corner, pacing back and forth ready for the match to start. Ben Price, and folks, I gotta tell you, at first glance, Eddie is severely outmatched here. The young giant Miguel Lanza Jr. Eddie Vega, you could argue that not only has Eddie been on a big streak lately, but he has the advantage of experience too. Ben Price, Abigail Dresden is younger than Eddie and has less experience. She beat him and ended his winning streak. Eddie Vega, I think that was a fluke. Eddie notices Abigail happens to be standing near the announce desk as he says that. Abigail sets the titles down on the desk and looks at Eddie, who clears his throat and adjusts his collar. Ashley Beaton checks both wrestlers and then waits for Eric Wilson to clear the ring before calling for the bell. Ding! Ding! Ben Price, and here we are, about to get going. Predictions? Eddie Vega, gotta go with Eddie Williams. He's fired up after his loss to Abigail Dresden, and Abigail, standing over by the desk, looks at the commentators and points to Miguel. Ben Price, for the fans at home, Abigail Dresden is, unsurprisingly, backing Miguel to win. In the ring, Miguel and Eddie circle around each other. Neither man wanted to make the first mistake. Miguel urges Eddie on. Eddie smirks and shakes his head before rebounding off the ropes and charging for Eddie with a head of steam telegraphing a clothesline. Miguel braces, and at the last second, Eddie slides under Miguel's legs and rebounds off the ropes on the other side and jumps up and hits Miguel with a chop block to the back of the knee, bringing him to a knee. He then grabs Miguel and plants him onto the mat with a snap DDT. Eddie then moves and covers Miguel. Ashley starts to get down to count, but Miguel bench presses, throwing Eddie off like a sack of potatoes. Ben Price, well, Eddie, have to give it to you, there's the experience edge you were talking about. Eddie Williams baited Miguel into thinking a clothesline was coming but slid behind him, took out the knee and then planted him with a DDT. Eddie Vega, well, we saw this in promos in the run-up to this match. Eddie Williams lost to Abigail. He seemed bound and determined to regain his momentum and get back on track. Eddie Williams gets up from the DDT and doesn't waste much time in moving over and locking in the camel clutch. Miguel Lanza Jr. tries to fight off, and the big man is able to make it difficult for Eddie Williams to fully lock the move in, and he does eventually reach the ropes. Eddie Williams keeps the hold on until right before the 5 count and breaks the hold. Ben Price, Eddie Williams has a solid plan of attack so far. Attacking the vertical base and now softening up the neck and back of his opponent. I'd say it was too early in the match though, but this could pay dividends as the match goes on. Eddie Vega, exactly. Eddie isn't expecting the win now, but he's setting the stage for later. I'll admit it, Miguel Lanza Jr. is impressive, but he's a typical big man. Relying on size and brute strength. He'll have to vary his game. This ain't the censored, this is the CWF. Eddie gets to his feet and measures Miguel. As Miguel gets to his feet, Eddie hits him with a few right hands and a European uppercut, rocking the head of Miguel. Miguel finally shoves Eddie off to create some distance. Eddie charges and springboards off the ropes and tries for a springboard forearm smash, but Miguel catches him and shifts into a military press as he benches him and tosses him behind him, letting Eddie land hard on the mat face first. Ben Price, Eddie Williams trying to keep the attack up, but Miguel catches him and uses the military press of his own. Poor Eddie looked like a child as he was being manhandled there. Eddie Vega, right. Eddie Williams has his own titles. Lanza's title is one that he needed Abigail and Tetsu Oni the 500th or whatever the hell number we're on to help him win. Ben Price, I think that's unfair. Miguel Lanza Jr. was in the Valor title scramble, and I have a feeling he will soon collect his own titles. Eddie Vega, I hope so. Abigail and Tetsu Oni have a big head start on him. Abigail Dresden, hey Miguel. Broadsides. Miguel looks at Abby and smirks and nods as he walks over to Eddie Williams and grabs him as he gets up. Miguel takes some time hitting him with a couple of big forearm smashes to the back of Eddie Williams. Williams hits the mat and Miguel stomps the fallen Brit a couple of times before turning to the crowd and making a motion simulating cannon fire as he calls out to the crowd who cheers. He pulls Eddie Williams to his feet and locks him in a double underhook. He lifts Eddie Williams effortlessly into the air and holds him before planting him with a butterfly brainbuster move. Bringing an OO from the crowd, Miguel moves over and pins the man, Ashley Beaton sliding in to make the count. 1, 2. The no! Eddie just gets a shoulder up. Miguel shoves him down and covers again. 1, 2. The no! Ben Price, impressive brainbuster-like move there, and Miguel tries twice to pin Eddie, and twice, the stubborn Brit kicks out. Eddie Vega, Miguel isn't going to beat Eddie that easily. He's going to have to think of something else. Miguel shakes his head and sighs in frustration, standing up and pulling Eddie Williams to his feet. Eddie hits Miguel Lanza Jr. in the gut with a couple of punches to the gut and then hits another European uppercut, again rocking the head of Miguel Lanza Jr. Miguel replies by headbutting Eddie, sending the man to the mat. He pulls Eddie to his feet and hits him with an atomic drop. He tries for a spinning discus clothesline, but Eddie ducks under it and hits Miguel Lanza with a Pele kick, sending the man stumbling backwards. Ben Price, these two are really starting to pick up the pace now as we see a back and forth from the two men. But I'd have to say Eddie Williams got the better of that exchange. Eddie Vega, I'd agree, Miguel Lanza is lucky to still be standing. Ben Price, Jr. Eddie Vega, what? Ben Price, Corink. Python. All thinking differently. Together. We come back from the commercial break, and we're immediately in same meeting room that had been used for the ownership committee and the bastards a bit before during the airing of the show. Again, it shows that this was taped earlier. This time the owners are seated as they were, but two matching title belts are sitting on the table in front of them. The assistant opens the door and the stable known as Bad Company comes in. All three members, including Gregory Michael Salazar, CWF Tag Team Champion Kara Reinhardt, and the CWF Tag Team and Conquest Champion, Cronin Reinhardt. All three take their spots and wait for the meeting to start. The camera does pick up Greg Salazar doing a slight bow in the direction of Ian Childress, who returns it with a bow of his head. Armand von Kraus starts this one off. Armand von Kraus, welcome, Bad Company. I'm sure this one won't have many instances of chest pounding and ego boosting. So we'll get to the point here. At the pay-per-view that won't air, the CWF Tag Team Champions, Kara and Cronin Reinhardt, defeated the Triple Crown Tag Team Champions. We don't need to mention their names, or do anything that would force us to pay them any usage rights. But we all saw it. Valora Salinas, so, yes. That means you had won those titles, and then were never allowed to display them. So with the formation of 4 Wins Wrestling, we are recognizing that win, and you are now being awarded the new 4 WW Dyad Championship titles. She motions to the titles on the table. G. Ian Childress, now, while their new straps to wear around and show off. We have also all decided that these are also going to be on the line in the match where you defend the CWF Tag Team Championships at Shadow Warfare. But we have a few changes to that as well. First, the CWF has not actually officially declared a number 1 contenders team. The bastards have claimed that spot, but it's not official. Kara Reinhardt, figures. Valora Salinas, the Bastards are also in contention for the Legion Championships. But they won't be getting a shot at both titles at Shadow Warfare. So we'll be asking them to choose. If they choose to go after Tag Team Gold, then you'll face 2 of their members. If they decide to go after the Legion titles, then you will face a different team. Armand von Kraus. In the meantime, we have all discussed something else. While it was the Reinhardts who won the championships, we have decided to institute what others have called the Freebird rule when it comes to your faction, as well as others if they win the titles. You are a 3-person team. So when it comes to your match at Shadow Warfare, you 3 may decide which 2 will represent your team. Greg Salazar, so that means we can hold Cronin in reserve until the main event? Ian Childress, if you wish. While it seems the decision has been made, we will also be confirming with them on their decision for who will be challenging for the Conquest Championship. But if you wish to keep Cronin Reinhardt fresh for the Conquest title match, that is in your collective purview as of now. Valora Salinas, but that will be for all factions, going forward, as well. So depending on who you're facing, choose your team wisely. Cronin Reinhardt, we will. I guess we'll wait to find out who we're facing. Meantime, thank you for the recognition and what you're doing for all of us who added that other federation to our schedule to represent the CWF. Cronin and Kara step forward and take their new additional championships off the table. The camera then cuts back to the announcers to continue the show. Ben Price and Bad Company are now the 4WW Dyad champions, which means duo or 2-person team by the way. Eddie Vega, like the Force Dyad in Star Wars. Ben Price, you know about that? Eddie Vega, yeah, I think Rise of Skywalker is the best Star Wars movie. Ben Price, take that back. Before the internet hordes cancel you. Eddie Vega, well, they can try. But Tommy Onions and I actually agree on that. Ben Price, I'm bowing out of this discussion quickly. Let's move on in the show. As it's time for Gabriel Tuck to face the wife of Ian O'Rourke. Elizabeth Devereaux O'Rourke, also known as Apathy. Eddie Vega, this can only end bad out here. Eric Wilson, the following contest is scheduled for one fall. Featuring first the challenger, hailing from the road, he is Gabriel Tuck. Iron Wolf by Beast Wars begins playing as Gabriel Tuck storms out from the back. He howls to the fans, who howl back mixed in with cheering. Gabriel beams as he heads down to the ring, hitting a few high fives and howling in response to the fans. He rolls into the ring and pops back to his feet, doing a few stretches. Ben Price, Gabriel really loving the fan approval again. Eddie Vega, I wonder how this affects his service to Armand and Esmeralda? They can't be liking his newfound status. Ben Price, do you really think that Gabriel would defy Armand? Eddie Vega, yeah, I don't know if he would or not. Eric Wilson, and his opponent, hailing from Alsace-Lorraine, France, she is Apathy. The sound of a vintage picture reel began to click and pop, the screen illuminating up counting down like a picture show. The pops, scratches, nicks and debris covered the screen, the numbers counting down, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, as the reel continued, the faint familiar sound of a text message being composed. The telltale sound of clicks followed by the sound of a message received. The demonic, distorted voice of SKYND creeps through. You're gonna have to prove me wrong. On the screen, a barrage of action shots, in still form from Apathy's career, centered and fixated, like an old film would. As the arena went down, red and white lights bathing the fans in a sea of color, Elizabeth rises from beneath the stage, head lowered, arms outstretched. A mixed chorus of boos, cheers and cheers pelted at her. She gradually raises her head, soaking in the animosity and fervent support. Inhaling it like a drug. Hashtag I love you, now die. I love you, now die. I love you, now die. I love you, now hashtag. As the heavy bass kicks in and the words of the chorus reverberate through the arena, she snaps her head up, a cocky self-assured smirk creeping across her lips as she saunters her way to the ring, casually engaging towards the fans, either encouraging more of their venomous verbal harassment or acknowledging the respect and adoration from her legions and devotees, basking in the glow. Hashtag go, in your truck and drive in a parking lot. Do it early, do it now. Do it early, do it now. Go, just park and sit there in your car. It will take 20 minutes. It will take 20 minutes hashtag. Hashtag go, in your truck and drive in a parking lot. Do it early, do it now. Do it early, do it now. Go, just park and sit there in your car. It will take 20 minutes. It will take 20 minutes hashtag. As the perverse and twisted sound of SKYND's auto-tuned verbal melody pulsates through the speakers, Elizabeth stops at the base of the walkway, grinning from ear to ear as she playfully mouths the words, "It will take 20 minutes, holding up 2 fingers and flashing them forwards and backwards as she says 20 minutes, then rushes the apron, hopping up and catapulting herself over the top rope, rolling through to the far side of the ring and climbing the turnbuckle and extending her arms, bowing aristocratically and smugly as her coup de grace. Ben Price, Apathy's luck has been pretty poor of late. His only win in recent memory has been against the future Kyle Eddie Vega, and everyone has defeated Kyle of late. Just to show how far down the ladder that Apathy has fallen. Ever since her injury at the hands of Frank Windsor, she's been feeling the pain. Ben Price, that makes me wonder if her being cleared to wrestle wasn't done falsely. She likely shouldn't be in the ring now. Eddie Vega, that's quite possible. I mean, she looks good, but does she feel good? That is the question. Apathy leans on the top rope facing the commentary table with a smile, not even looking at Gabriel. Ben Price, are you looking at us? Eddie Vega, everything said was his fault. Owen O'Rourke takes a seat at the table and puts on a spare headset with a laugh. Owen O'Rourke, she's looking at me, boys. Ben Price, that makes more sense. Eddie Vega, I knew that. Owen blows Apathy a kiss, who catches it and turns her attention toward Gabriel as the bell is sounded to start the match. Gabriel walks over to Apathy and the two lock up, pressing against one another for dominance. Gabriel pushes Apathy to the ropes and then breaks the lockup by whipping her across the ring. He meets her in the middle of the ring on the rebound with a drop kick that sends Apathy to the mat while Gabriel backflips from the impact to his feet. Apathy gets right back to her feet, but a charging lariat takes her right back down again. A standing moonsault double heel stomp to the small of the back keeps Apathy down on the mat. Ben Price, Gabriel keeping the pace of the match pretty quick. Eddie Vega, yeah, he's blowing Apathy out of the water right now. Owen O'Rourke, that's the whole idea. If Gabriel blows his wad quick in the match, Apathy can pick him off at her leisure. You can't be thinking his punk attacks are doing anything. Apathy rolls away to her feet and Gabriel catches her with a back elbow and then whips her into the corner where he begins flipping into the corner until he hits a leaping avalanche. Gabriel gets her into a front face lock and climbs to the second rope while still holding her. He uses the ropes as a springboard to leap backwards into a stunning DDT. Owen O'Rourke, anytime now, babe. Ben Price, problems? Eddie Vega, Gabriel putting the hurt to Apathy right now. Owen O'Rourke, you know what? Fuck this. Gabriel backs up to the ropes as Apathy is starting to get up, looking to run in with his Wolf Strike, Superman Punch, when Owen O'Rourke pulls him out of the ring and begins to brawl with him. Referee, Georgina Ross, immediately signals for the bell. Eric Wilson, winner of the match via disqualification, Gabriel Tuck. Gabriel and Owen brawl back and forth, seemingly pretty even until Apathy regains herself and slides out of the ring to join the fight. In the mix-up where three people are throwing fists, it becomes unclear who is fighting who exactly until Apathy catches a fist to the throat and falls to the floor while clutching at her throat. Gabriel's eyes go wide and he drops down to check on her. Owen proceeds to kick him in the face, laying him out on the floor before checking on Apathy and helping her to the back. Gabriel sits up, a trickle of blood going down the corner of his mouth as he shakes his head. Ben Price, Owen couldn't stand the sight of his wife getting defeated in the middle of the ring and did something. Eddie Vega, did you see who punched her in the throat? Was it Gabriel? Was it Owen? Ben Price, I don't know, but there might be some serious damage to her windpipe there. Hopefully, she gets checked out and takes some time off to heal properly. Eddie Vega, that would be for the best. We like seeing the violence go on in the ring, but we are also serious about injuries being taken care of. Ben Price, let's go ahead and pay some bills and go to commercial. The Las Vegas drive-through crematorium. Because goodbyes don't have to take forever. Priest dressed as Elvis upon request. The show comes back from commercial, backstage as Kelia Flonot of the Pacific Rim Tag Team is walking backstage. She's not wrestling tonight, so she's in her street clothes. She turns a corner and comes up on Kara Reinhardt, currently shadowboxing to get ready for her upcoming match. She stops, a flash of concern or fear on her face. But then she moves to continue on. Kara sees her and pauses her workout and turns to face her. Kara Reinhardt, hey, Kelia. You okay? Kelia stops and turns to her. Kelia Flonot, yeah. Doing pretty good. Kara nods to her and then takes a few steps towards her. Kara Reinhardt, good. I saw your match on Vanguard. Too bad you lost. But you sure showed that Arshgeej to be careful with who you try to choke out. Glad you're doing better. I know it's late, but sorry if I hurt you. Kelia shrugs at that. Kelia Flonot, it's business. You checked on me both times, didn't hold onto it too long. It just triggered something. I'm building a bridge and getting over it. Of course, we've had some bad luck lately. So, we're working on getting back up there. Kara Reinhardt, you and your brother do that. At least you and your stablemates are like some of the others out there. I'm sure you two will be back up to the top of the contenders list soon enough. Kelia grins and nods at that. Kelia Flonot, you can count on it. You and your brother need a good challenge, let us know. Maybe the next time will be our time. Kara smiles and puts her hand out in a fist. Kara Reinhardt, you got it. Kelia gives her a fist bump and then waves a bit. Kelia Flonot, good luck out there against Riot tonight. Bastards still have some karma debt to pay far as I'm concerned. Kara nods and starts to loosen her shoulders back up. Kara Reinhardt, that's the plan. That's the plan. Ben Price, well, nice to see Kelia Flonot and Kara Reinhardt have no hard feelings. Eddie Vega, it's sickening all this respect and other things going on around here. Ben Price, well, our next match isn't going to have much respect given in it as Ira Waters will be taking on Owen O'Rourke. Eddie Vega, yes, a palate cleanser. Ben Price, well, before we start, I have word that Alyssa Lucci is ready for an interview backstage with Ira Waters before this match gets started. Eddie Vega, an interview? Ira? I thought the big boy doesn't like talking. Take it away, Alyssa. We cut backstage to Lucci standing next to a seemingly annoyed Ira Waters and his girlfriend, the excitable and excited fantastic Joy Flanagan. Alyssa Lucci, thanks, gentlemen. I am indeed standing with Ira Waters before his match with Owen O'Rourke. Any further thoughts on Owen since the skirmish on the last Vanguard? Iro Waters, yeah. Waters, as he is wont to do, pauses for a moment, seemingly content with his one-word response. Joy taps him on the shoulder. Joy Fanigan, well, go on with ya. Iro Waters, okay. I just want to say, despite Owen sticking his nose in my match and my anger afterward, that tonight is nothing personal. Let's just have a professional match, and may the better man win. In that instant, Owen O'Rourke storms into the back after commentating, looking to get ready for his proper entrance for the match. He's heard just enough words to get into Iro's face. Owen O'Rourke, a professional match. You ain't even a real wrestler, kid, but that's okay. Because I'm not looking for a wrestling match. I'm looking to kick your fucking arse out there, motherfucker. Waters lets out an incredulous laugh before placing his hands calmly into his pockets, cool as a Californian cucumber. Iro Waters, we'll see when we get to the ring. Owen steams at Iro's apparent lack of caring, and he shoves the sophomore wrestler. Owen O'Rourke, maybe you won't even make it there, shithead. Waters flares his nostrils and rolls his eyes as he bites his tongue for a moment. He looks over to Luke G. Iro Waters, this is what I was talking about. Everyone wants to be a hothead here, instead of just being a man. Owen O'Rourke, you're gonna regret talking like a little bitch. Owen paintbrushes Waters across the face. The young man grits his teeth and stares a hole through Owen, but he still doesn't retaliate. Joy Fanigan, we you fucking mog, go on, get out of here. From hearing a fellow Irish accent, O'Rourke snaps a surprised and angry look toward Joy, and he gawks at her bright blue hair. Owen O'Rourke, oh, that's grand. And where might the bird be from, then? Joy Fanigan, Limerick, you get. You sound like you're from the caves down south. Owen O'Rourke, Leitrim. I hear it's all dumb skanks in Limerick. Ha! Iro Waters, that's enough. Waters, hands now unpocketed, returns the shove from earlier. Owen holds his arms up and flashes a toothy grin that's dripping with insincerity. He backs away one step, before jutting toward Waters and clapping both his eardrums. The Irish bounty hunter grabs Iro by the neck and throws him over a nearby catering table. Joy shrieks and jumps closer to Alyssa. Joy Fanigan, oh shite, what do we do? Alyssa Luke G, well, for one, we keep the camera rolling. Stay on them. Owen cackles with delight as Iro stands up, peeling lunch meat off of his skin. O'Rourke grabs Iro by the head, but that's when Waters suddenly unleashes a series of body punches to stun Owen. Iro dunks O'Rourke's head into what was once a delicious cake, before slamming his skull a second time onto the actual table. Waters shakes his head and relents. Iro Waters, this is ridiculous. O'Rourke wipes the icing from his eyes and swings wildly with a punch that Iro dodges easily. Waters shoves Owen against the edge of a wall and folds his arms, thinking that's the end of the fight. The bounty hunter barks at him again, however. Owen O'Rourke, the only thing ridiculous is you thinking you belong here, boy. A small spark ignites in Iro's eyes, and he lunges at Owen with a mighty calamity trigger. Also, his voice surprisingly raises for the first time in this altercation. Iro Waters, fuck you. Owen, though, darts away at the last moment, and Iro's arm hits the corner of the wall with blunt force. He lets out a guttural yell of pain, as Owen resumes his laughing. He rummages through a strategically placed case and produces the lightning gauntlet he used on Gabriel Tuck. He sadistically approaches the reeling Waters and lights him up with an augmented punch to the ribs. Joy Fanigan, oh no, he's fisting with electricity again. Alyssa Luke G, we still can't say that, probably. And it might be a good time for security to break this up. Guys? O'Rourke gives a disrespectful kick to the side of Iro's head, toying with him and waiting for Iro to stand. Owen O'Rourke, you got in my way last time, so now it's your story that ends, motherfucker. He aims a kill shot of a punch toward the Temple of Waters, but he's met with a rising counter. Iro Waters has been a clean fighter practically the whole of his young career, but he lands a punch directly in Owen's crotch, doubling over the Irishman. Joy Flanagan, oh boyo. In baseball that'd be known as 2 balls and 1 strike. Waters scrambles to his feet, and along the way he spots a piece of lumber. He brandishes the board like a baseball bat and swings, connecting with the chest and jaw of O'Rourke and sending him rolling backwards. Owen hurriedly finds his footing, clutching his chin and holding the lightning gauntlet up for defense. CWF security and personnel surround both men, but everyone including the combatants pauses and keeps their distance, and that's when Owen is abruptly dropped with a sickening chair shot to the back of his dome. Gabriel Tuck grits his teeth and throws the steel chair to the ground. Tuck points to the gauntlet as he nods at Iro, who hesitates before he drops the lumber. Gabriel Tuck, that shit hurts, don't it? Iro Waters, yeah. So why'd you help? Gabriel Tuck, simple. I wanted revenge. Plus, now we're even. Jerk ass. Iro Waters, okay, so maybe you're not a jerk ass. Or a clown. Or a lizard man. Tuck shakes his head at Iro's dry joke delivery, and Gabriel departs after the two shake hands again like at the last Vanguard. Iro looks around at the CWF staff and sees referee Troy Reynolds, and he gestures to the groggy O'Rourke. Iro Waters, so, do I win? That's a win, right? Troy Reynolds, what? No, we're not in the ring. It's a no contest. Iro Waters, no contest? Waters, realizing that this won't count as a win either in the record book or the checkbook, rushes over to Owen as he's being lifted by the medical team and delivers a swift slap into his face. Iro Waters, motherfucker! Security steps in and pulls Iro away as Alyssa finally feels it safe to enter the shot again. Alyssa Lucci, well, perhaps even Mr. Waters is susceptible to anger. Joy Flanagan, yee, he don't get like that often. It's kinda hot, right? Alyssa Lucci, not my first thought during a fight with a lightning weapon. Joy Flanagan, but nothing's as dazzling as you look, Lissa. Anyways, gotta go get my mans, bye. Alyssa Lucci, thanks. Joy. I'm going to go ahead and toss it to a commercial for the boys. And when we come back, more with the owners and the bastards. Fed UPS. Day or night? For when you need it there, right TF now. The show comes back from commercial, back to the scene with the owners and the bastards, this time focusing on Rob Riot, who is staring right across at Valora Salinas. Rob Riot, well, isn't this comfortable? It's very cozy. Nice seats. Both of your feet are properly under the table now, I take it, Val? How are you getting on with Ian? You're keeping splendid company these days, especially that chap on your other shoulder. Riot doesn't look at Armand von Kraus, but does nod in his direction. Rob Riot, haven't woken up in the morning with a nasty nip on the neck yet, I hope? Valora smirks. Valora Salinas, you have my number, Rob. You want to hash out private business, do it there. For now, I'll leave it at this. Surprise, surprise. It turns out there are consequences to walking out on your girlfriend and your daughter to desperately pretend you're still a frat boy. Because you're totes not having a midlife crisis or anything. Not at all. Valora takes a title belt handed to her from Childress and sets it on the table. Valora Salinas, now, to business. You beat Bram Conan. It might not have been aired, but we saw it. Now, Armand and you had an arrangement that if you beat Bram Conan, you would get a shot at Cronin for the title at Shadow Warfare. We'll get to whether or not that happens in a moment, because while I believe you're a damn fool to pass up the chance to get first crack at Cronin given that no one in CWF history has ever successfully defended that belt, you seem content to let your fearless leader over there have the shot. Rob Riot, that? From you? Really? A few weeks on the board, and you're already parroting the same worn-out crap as the Cronin gang. And here was I hoping that I might have a friend in this room. Frank Windsor earned his shot. Everybody else seems to be very keen to forget that. I, on the other hand, am preoccupied with fixing the problem that exists at the top of this company. You used to be interested in that, remember? Now you seem more interested in becoming part of it. Valora waves her hand and rolls her eyes. Valora Salinas, you do have an ally in this room, Rob. You're the only one that doesn't seem able to grasp that. Valora turns and looks at Rob, looking him right in the eye. Valora Salinas, maybe you should grow the fuck up, Rob. Admit that the great and powerful Riot Star made a mistake. You do have an ally in this room. I've put up with a lot more shit from you than I would almost any other human being on Earth. Just here in this meeting. If Frank Windsor or hell just about anyone else in the Fed walked in here with half the fucking insults and attitude you've shown, they'd be on the ground bleeding already. Once more. You walked out on Abby and I. We didn't leave you. The door that has us behind it is still open. I don't know for how much longer though. I would advise you, if you want any sort of relationship with your daughter, that you try to take some kind of action before she develops a genuine hatred of you. Valora sighs and shakes her head. Valora Salinas, dunno why I bother, no one fucking listens to my advice anyways. Fine. Business then. Come and get the 4 wins title belt you won by beating Bram Conan. Also, even though it goes without saying, I'll say it so as not to have another late-night message whinging that I don't talk to you enough, even though that arrangement was put in place by you, and not me. This is an actual belt and you will have to actually get into a ring and actually defend it. Rob Riot, are you done? Do you feel better getting all that off your chest? Do you feel like here and now was the appropriate venue for all of that? Question my decisions all you like, Val, someone has to. But don't question them when you're sitting next to Armand von Kraus. If you want to talk about bad decisions, start there. Okay, I call things on the fly, and not all of those on the fly decisions take to the air. But I'd be as cold and dead as he thinks he is before doing business with him. Only a fool would do that. If you were even half as smart as you just tried to assert yourself to be, you'd know that already. So would Childress. I openly question what motivates you both to be here. I don't expect either of you to answer that question. He pauses, staring her down for just as long as she stared him down mere moments ago, then shakes his head. Rob Riot, okay, sure, let's focus on business. Let's talk about the belt. Defending it is not a problem. I'm a fighting champion. When I have a title, I'm the face of the company I represent, unlike others I could mention. In fact, I will mention him. Where's Cronin? Is he on holiday? CWF doesn't benefit from having an invisible champion. For Wins Wrestling, on the other hand, just got put on the map. Do I have to defend this against Kara? Valora shakes her head. Valora Salinas, no. It would be unfair to force you to defend a belt literally minutes after being awarded it. Your match with Kara is non-title. Rob Riot, ooh, she won't be pleased with that. Having that Reinhardt surname used to get you everything served on a platter around here not so long ago. Maybe things really are different with you on the board. Well, thanks for the hardware, mi amor. I'll carry it properly. Someone needs to be an example to our daughter, no? Valora narrows her eyes and then smirks. Valora Salinas, that sounds like an excellent idea, mi amor. You should definitely try to be an example for her sometime. Now, as for you as a champion, you don't need to tell me. Both you and I know how to make a title worth something. I look forward to seeing what you do with it. Also, about the Reinhardts getting shit handed to them. From where I sit, the only people in this Fed who walk around expecting and demanding special treatment are you three. Your button didn't work? Tough. You, Frank, Greg, and Cronin were all in the ring at the same time. Cronin happened to come out on top. Rather than whine about it, you could make a plan to step in the fucking ring against him and take your title back. That's what I would do. But then that's me. When someone takes a belt from me, I go and take it back, and I don't tend to let anyone go first if I can help it. Valora takes a breath and shrugs. Valora Salinas, I said in the ring I'm here to advocate for the wrestlers and to treat them fairly. That means you three. That means the Reinhardts. That means everyone. When Frank cheats to win a match, I will absolutely punish him for it. If Abigail and the upstarts screw Frank over the next show, I will punish them for it. Also, it's funny that you see Ian and I working with Armand. I'm pretty sure Armand sees us as taking power away from him. Armand von Kraus just smiles. Armand von Kraus, yes, it was a coup that was brilliantly played. No longer am I the sole power at the top of the heap. Does it bother me? Yes, I admit that at first it was a bother, but I remember, never mind. The conflicts to come will be thrilling. And Robert, you know that I am but a humble German businessman. You are intent on unmasking us all, yes? This is me unmasking. Rob Riot, unmasking? I'm not so sure about that, Count Duckula. I think you're still wearing a mask. Why don't I come over there and see if I can tear it off your face? Armand von Kraus, and bring chaos to this affair? I don't control you, but you do what you feel is right. I won't have it held against me when you are shamed in front of this crowd. I am undefeated since I have stopped doing favors for Sebastian Blood. Rob Riot, yeah, I'd be undefeated if I hid behind a skirt and ducked every real challenge sent my way, too. But you know what? I'm not going to give you the satisfaction. Laying you out here doesn't get rid of you. I'm here to play the long game, and this. He pats the 4 Wins Wrestling Championship. Rob Riot puts me a step ahead of you. I don't need to be the champion of your company. I'm the champion of the ball pit it plays in. Gee, Ian Childress, yes, you are. And that was to make you whole. You traveled in between CWF dates to go to London and beat some big-headed ass to teach him. Armand also beat their owner that night. I have heard nothing but good things from Blaze about the bastards during his time working with the CWF when I could not. But mostly about you. But while I can only give you words right now, Mr. Riot, I can assure you that Mr. Von Kraus and I will likely not see eye to eye on many things. And now, there is a basic system of checks and balances in place to ensure that one man doesn't have too much power. Ian leans in and adds a sly smile to his face. He takes off his cowboy hat and puts it down onto the table in front of him as he does. Gee, Ian Childress, and when it comes to that title, the one that represents 4 Wins Wrestling as a whole, the one that is the legacy of what had been MY Federation and MY Dream so long ago. I do hope you live up to what Blaze and Valora have both said you will do, as its representative and champion. I will add that I'm disappointed in your decision to let Frank Windsor take your spot. But as you said, he did earn it if he wants to trade in his Valor title price for that shot. And I also understand Eric Wilson, ladies and gentlemen, the next match is set for one fall. Introducing first. She hails from Dresden, Germany. standing 6 feet tall and weighing in at 205 pounds. She is one half of the CWF Tag Team Champions and a member of Bad Company. She is Kara Reinhardt. The lights in the arena dim and Ich 2 dir Web by Rammstein plays over the PA as Kara comes out from the back, sporting a black leather jacket over her usual in-ring gear. Greg Salazar and Cronin come out with her, and Raven and Lily sit in ringside seating with Callie. She makes her way down to the ring, walking slowly as she passes the commentary desk, Eddie Vega gulping as she passes. She jumps onto the apron and climbs into the ring and leans back against the turnbuckle. Ben Price, new theme song and a new look for Kara tonight. Oddly, I gotta say the biker jacket suits her. Though not sure black with blue highlights is a good hair color for her. Eddie Vega, I hope Riot has a plan to deal with her. Otherwise, I would say it's pretty stupid to intentionally piss her off and not have a plan to deal with the fallout. Eric Wilson, and introducing her opponent. Fighting out of Manchester, England, United Kingdom. He stands 6 feet, 3 inches and weighs in at 245 pounds. He is the 4 Wins champion and a member of the Bastards. He is the Riot star, Rob Riot. I Feel You by Depeche Mode bursts through the arena PA as the entrance ramp is bathed in red and white spotlights. They arc and twist over the ramp, waiting to pick out Rob Riot. Just as the vocals kick in, Riot steps through the curtains, his newly acquired 4 Wins title slung over his shoulder, twirling his long black ring jacket behind him as he does. He takes a moment to soak in the crowd's response, nodding to himself as he does, before turning his attention to the ring. Raising one arm and clenching his fist in the air, Riot walks down to the ring, now oblivious to the crowd around him. He's all business. He walks around the ring once and takes his time to climb up the steps, walking halfway along the ring and wiping his feet before he steps through the ropes. Ben Price, and here comes the other competitor in our match tonight, Rob Riot. A man that has had a very questionable tactic coming into this match where he seemingly has worked hard to anger his opponent. Eddie Vega, Benny Boy, I'm a big-time Rob Riot fan, but even I can't agree with this tactic. I mean, look at that woman. Why, in the name of all that's holy, would you want to wind her up? As soon as Riot enters the ring, we get an answer as Kara wastes exactly 0 time and charges forward, spearing Riot and tackling him, immediately moving to a mounted position and begins hammering Riot with ground and pound style punches as Eric Wilson scrambles to get out of the ring and Ashley Beaton yells at Kara to cease the attack but then gives up and calls for the bell, sliding the title belt out of the ring. Ding! Ding! Ben Price, well, you might be onto something, Eddie. Kara wasted absolutely no time in beginning to attack Rob Riot. Eddie Vega, now that's unfair. If one of the Bastards had done that, they'd be disqualified. She endangered Eric Wilson. In the ring, Kara continues to pound away on Rob Riot and even pauses the punches to grab Rob Riot by the head and slam his head into the mat. Ashley Beaton finally has enough and reaches in. Ashley Beaton, damn it, Kara, break the hold or I'll DQ you. Kara glares at Ashley Beaton but releases the hold, standing up and taking her jacket off and tossing it out of the ring. For his part, Rob Riot crawls to his feet and complains to Ashley Beaton that Kara is using closed fists. Ashley does not seem amused by the tactic, but she turns to Kara and warns her about the fists. Kara rolls her eyes. Ben Price, Rob Riot the lawyer, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Vega, he's right. Wrestlers do have to watch the closed fists. Ben Price, not counting tonight, name the last time any wrestler ever was penalized for using closed fists. Eddie Vega, okay. Conceded. But you're going to defend her bashing his head into the mat? Ben Price, no, but Ashley did not allow that either. In the ring, Kara cuts off Riot's complaints with a series of punches to the face of Riot before grabbing him and roaring out as she half whips, half throws Riot into the ropes, letting out another roar as she catches him coming back and lifts him into the air, over her head, pressing him a couple of times before she tosses him into the air behind her and sends him crashing face first into the mat. Ben Price, Jesus Christ! Eddie Vega, I warned you. I warned you. It's always the same thing. I always warn people, but no one listens to Eddie when he labels her the Dami Mommy. No, Kara is a nice German, she would never hurt a fly. Ben Price, you done yet? Eddie Vega, for the record, I did tell you so. That woman has a truly scary combination of speed and power. Rob Riot is almost 50 pounds heavier than her and 3 inches taller, and she picked him up as easily as if she were grabbing a sack of potatoes. Kara does not give Rob Riot a chance to recover as she grabs him as he tries to get back to his feet, but Riot flops, falling back to the mat and evading Kara's grab, and gets to his feet, feigning as if he is going to attack but only to run to the ropes, stepping in between the ropes to protect himself from Kara, a smug grin on his face as he looks to Ashley, who reminds Kara she can't attack Rob Riot while he is tangled in the ropes. Kara argues with the ref. Rob Riot takes advantage as she slips into the ring and smacks Kara in back of the head, slapping her again when she turns to him and running back to the safety of the ropes as Kara moves to counter-attack. Ashley again tries to hold Kara back, and Kara shoves the ref and Ashley gets into Kara's face. Ashley beaten, touch me again, Kara, and you'll regret it. Kara glares daggers at Ashley, but Greg shouts up to her, trying to calm her down. Greg Salazar, focus, soldier. Rob Riot smirks and gestures to Greg Salazar as he looks at Kara while still standing in between the ropes. Rob Riot, better listen to him. Well, think for yourself when you can be a good whore and obey orders. Kara responds by spinning and nailing Rob Riot with a discus punch that sends him to the ring apron, and he rolls out to the floor, while Cronin and Greg share a laugh. Cronin Reinhardt, having some trouble with the lady there, champ? Rob Riot glares at Cronin and takes a step towards him. Cronin shrugs. Cronin Reinhardt, anytime, champ. Maybe we can even do title versus title. I'm not the one ducking the match up. That'd be you, buddy boy. Ben Price, the interesting tactic continues. It's almost as if Rob Riot doesn't want to fight Kara and so is deliberately trying to avoid combat. Though, it sounds like the Conquest champ is more than willing to get in the ring with Rob Riot. Eddie Vega, well, she is not on his level. And Kara was right. Rob Riot has nothing to gain and everything to lose here. Why should he fight Kara? As for who Cronin wants to fight, it's not up to him. It seems like that is for Frank Windsor and Rob Riot to work out, and I'm sure they will come up with a good plan. While Kara is distracted with the ref, Rob Riot slips into the ring and sets up. Kara is warned by Greg that Riot is behind her and turns around. Right into a super kick from Rob Riot, Kara is knocked flat on her back. Rob Riot taps the side of his head as he stares at Greg Salazar and Cronin at ringside and covers Kara only to break the cover. Rob Riot, we're not done yet, love. Ben Price, I'm not sure teasing and playing with Kara is a good idea. Eddie Vega, I agree with you. But he must have a plan. Eddie Williams and Frank Windsor make their way to ringside, coming in from the crowd as they look to balance out the other members of Bad Company. Rob Riot pulls Kara to her feet and makes a move to lock up with her only to pull back. He dodges a couple punches from Kara as he slips behind her and hits a bulldog on her. He runs to the ropes but is cut off when Kara reaches out, grabs his foot and trips him, bringing him to the mat. She follows this up with 3 elbow drops into the spine of Rob Riot before driving her foot into the spine in a stomp, and then grabs Riot's arms and pulls back. Ben Price, It doesn't look comfortable to me. Kara using a unique submission style move to wear down her opponent. Eddie Vega, hey! In some parts of Europe, you have to pay good money to have a woman manhandle you like this. Well, the world, really. Just pick Europe as both our fighters are European. Kara pulls Rob Riot to his feet and throws him into a corner, coming in with a head full of steam and slams into him with a jumping body splash. No sooner do her feet touch the mat than she begins pummeling him with punches in the corner before hitting him with a European uppercut. Riot slumps into the corner and begs off. Kara hears no pleas for mercy, however, as she pulls him to his feet. Riot thumbs her eyes and grabs her, but Kara counters and gets behind him, lifting him up and planting him with a German suplex. She keeps the hold on as she gets up and brings him to the mat once more with a German suplex. She keeps the hold on him again and repeats the move. After the third German suplex, she bridges back into a cover. Ashley Beaton slides in and makes the cover. 1, 2. Frank Windsor reaches in and grabs Kara's ankle and yanks, breaking the pinfall. Greg Salazar comes over and chases Windsor off, but the damage is done. Ben Price, Kara finally got a hold of Rob Riot and was able to unleash some frustration by pummeling him, but Windsor broke up the pin and possibly saved Rob Riot from a loss there. Kara gets to her feet and yells at Frank Windsor, who gives her the finger. Rob Riot slowly fights to his feet and grabs Kara from behind, locking in a full Nelson as he slowly moves her back into the ring and hits her with a full Nelson slam before pulling Kara to her feet and hitting her with an eat defeat, placing his foot on her jaw and dropping to the mat, sending Kara to the mat hard. He glances to his compatriots at ringside and nods, the two men nodding in return. Ben Price, Rob Riot finally decides to fight, after Kara is distracted by his buddies at ringside, and that nod seems to indicate the bastards have a plan. Eddie Vega, you didn't complain with Greg Salazar and Cronin at ringside. For all we know, the bastards are here to make sure they don't cheat again and steal another win. Ben Price, the bastards are the ones stealing wins. Eddie Vega, says you. Rob Riot watches as Kara gets up, making a motion to lock up only to again run to the rope and use them for safety, the smug smirk on his face getting wider as he watches Kara's frustration grow. Finally, Kara grabs him, looking to throw him back into the ring, but Frank Windsor and Eddie Williams all immediately yell at the ref to break up the illegal move, and Ashley Beaton rolls her eyes a bit and pulls Kara off. Ben Price, this should have been an awesome match, but Rob Riot is intentionally spoiling it by refusing to fight. This is a farce, and this man believes he should be the top champion in our company. Eddie Vega, agree to disagree, Benny boy. I think this has been brilliantly played by Rob Riot. While Kara and Ashley Beaton argue, Rob Riot turns and looks to Eddie before turning back to face Kara when he hears her cease her arguments. Ashley Beaton is examining Kara, who suddenly is doubled over in pain. She tries to step forward and stumbles, dropping to a knee, shaking her head trying to clear her head. Rob Riot tilts his head, unsure if something is wrong or if this is a ploy. Those questions are answered when Lily and Callie shout something and Cronin and Greg Salazar move towards the ring, concerned looks on their faces. Kara begins coughing and coughs up blood, and Ashley Beaton shakes her head and calls for the bell. Ding! Ding! Eric Wilson, ladies and gentlemen, Kara Reinhardt has been deemed unable to continue the match. The winner of this match, by DQ, is Rob Riot. Rob Riot does nothing and orders Eddie and Frank to stay back as Greg Salazar and Cronin help Kara out of the ring and make their way to the backstage area. Ben Price, well, that is odd. Kara was fine one moment and then suddenly seemed to be dazed, racked with pain, and began coughing up blood. I think Ashley Beaton made the right call by ending the match to allow her to get checked out. Eddie Vega and Riot gets a win without having to work for it. That's called working smarter, not harder. Ben Price, way to not care about your dummy mommy there, Eddie. Eddie Vega, hey! She isn't my I mean, obviously I want to know what's going on, but come on. It's the CWF. Are we really surprised that weird shit happens anymore? Ben Price, that is a good point, actually. Anyways, fans, stay tuned to the show and to the CWF news feeds for latest news, including updates on Kara's condition when we have it. Eddie Vega, looks like they'll not get to stack the deck and keep Cronin from defending the tag titles at Shadow Warfare after all. Ben Price, maybe not. We'll see if we can get an update sometime tonight. But first, let's go to commercial. When we come back, the Bastards continue as the third Bastard fights tonight. Eddie Vega, Frank Windsor. Ben Price against Father Nathan. The Bastards. Utter brush it. Utter brush it beer. Your life is empty, our bottles aren't. The show comes back from commercial, backstage, and it shows Frank Windsor talking on his cell phone. He is unaware that the camera is broadcasting live to the crowd. Frank Windsor, I know, bruv, it all comes down to this. He pauses as he listens to the person on the other end's reply. Frank Windsor, mate, it needs to happen soon. This is the time for redemption. Frank notices the camera. Frank Windsor, bruv, I've got to go as they're filming me. Laters. He put the phone in his pocket and straightened up. Frank Windsor, first off, after all that's gone on tonight, it just proves your boy right. The management wants to drive a wedge between the Bastards. Do they think it'll work? He looks around before he shrugs his shoulders. Frank Windsor, anyway, let's get to the meat and veg of this story. I get to face Cronin at Shadow Wars for the CWF Conquest Championship. People are writing me off and putting Robbie over instead, as I'm supposed to have stolen his spot. People need to respect Frank Windsor as he's the next fucking CWF Conquest champion. He continues to talk, but the microphone has stopped working. Frank taps the top of the mic and shrugs his shoulders. He throws it to the floor and flips the bird to the camera. Ben Price, Frank has been told about his cursing before. Seems like the production truck has called him out one more time. Eddie Vega, I know, after they cut him off a few shows back too. Ben Price, I don't think the management has problems with the Bastards, but they do with Frank Windsor. Eddie Vega, you might be onto something there. Ben Price, now what's next, Eddie? instantly lets go of the hold. Nathan rolls across the ring to the ropes, clutching his knee. Windsor rolls to his feet, clutching at his shoulder in pain. Windsor walks over Nathan and pulls him up by his hair, following it up with an Irish whip into the corner. Windsor comes running full speed into the corner, but Nathan spins out of the corner, letting Windsor go sailing into the turnbuckles. Eddie Vega, that's gotta hurt. Ben Price, yeah, straight into the turnbuckle. Eddie Vega, what? Nathan begins working Windsor over into the corner as he spins Windsor around and climbs up to the middle rope and begins dropping fists. Quickly the crowd begins counting with Nathan. As Nathan hits number 10, he steps off of Windsor and delivers a chop to the midsection. Windsor looks up at Nathan and delivers a chop of his own. Nathan chops, Windsor chops, Nathan chops, Windsor chops. Finally, Windsor gets a bit frustrated and spins Nathan around and pushes him into the corner. Nathan follows it up with spinning Windsor around and pushing Nathan into the corner with some authority. Nathan delivers a kidney punch before putting Windsor up onto the top rope, his back facing Nathan. Nathan climbs up to the middle rope and hooks both of Windsor's arms up into a full Nelson. Nathan leans back and drops Windsor with a super full Nelson suplex. Nathan rolls to his feet and looks down at the stunned Windsor. He pulls Windsor over, lining him up perfectly for a leg drop. He runs to the ropes, but at the last moment Windsor rolls out of the way. Eddie Vega, what's he doing? Windsor looks around himself. Nathan was down in the corner, nodding to himself. Windsor charges in and cannonballs him in the corner. But Nathan rolls out of the way at the last moment. Nathan grabs hold of Frank and locks in an armbar. Frank is screaming so loud. He tries to roll towards the ropes, but Nathan rolls through and locks it in right in the middle of the ring. Ben Price, Frank needs to get out of this. The referee checks on Frank. Nathan locks his legs around Frank so he can't move. The referee checks on Frank again and shouts at the timekeeper, who rings the bell. Ben Price, it seems that Frank has passed out. He's that tough that he won't tap. Eddie Vega, I wonder how much damage has been done to that arm? He's got to fight Cronin Reinhardt at Shadow Warfare. Ben Price, speaking of Shadow Warfare. When we come back from commercial, we're going to hear what the bastards want to do at Shadow Warfare. What decisions will they make? Eddie Vega, they should just be allowed to go after everything. Not like they won't eventually claim them anyway. Ben Price, well, we'll find out right after this. AFC. Atlanta Fried Chicken. It's not cat. Cannot guarantee it's not cat. Eric Wilson, the following matchup is scheduled for one fall, and with a time limit of the TV time remaining. It will be for the Conquest Wrestling Valor Championship. It will be fought under Valor Division rules. Introducing first, the challenger. Limits by Bad Omens, as covered by the band Cryptic Writings, starts to play as the large screen over the ramp and stage displays the name Gregory Michael Salazar and then transitions to just his initials GMS. Greg Salazar steps out onto the stage and stands there for a moment to cheers from the fans in attendance. Eric Wilson, he currently hails from Seattle, Washington, representing the faction known as Bad Company and coming in at 6 feet 3 inches and 230 lbs. He is the Paragon Gregory Michael Salazar. Ben Price, Greg Salazar made a challenge for the Valor Championship over a year ago, and he finally gets a shot. Eddie Vega, he wasn't in the company a year ago? Ben Price, this again? He was wrestling under the mask as Tetsuo Oni at the time. Eddie Vega, no, Tetsuo Oni is one of the upstarts. Ben Price, okay, well, finally getting a shot, but against someone he respects, and I'm not sure this is someone he wanted to dethrone as champion. Eddie Vega, you get a shot at a title belt, you take it. Salazar walks down to the ring and climbs up the ring steps. He enters and then goes to a corner to climb up and play to the crowd a bit more as they await the Valor champion to join them. Eric Wilson, and the champion, she hails from Swansea, Wales in the United Kingdom. She is also currently 1/3 of the Four Winds Wrestling Legion champions and the Four Winds Wrestling Albion champion. She represents the faction of the upstarts and comes in at 5 feet 9 inches and 175 lbs. This is Abigail Dresden. The arena darkens and a mist begins to form around as Phoenix by Fallout Boy plays over the PA. Abigail emerges from the mist, pausing at the entryway as she looks over the crowd and then takes a deep breath. She's sporting the CWF Valor Championship belt around her waist, her 4WW Legion title over her left shoulder, and the 4WW Albion Championship over her right. Ben Price, all those titles on a 17-year-old girl. Eddie Vega, she takes after her mother and father. Bearing all 3 title belts, she doesn't do her usual. Instead, she uses one arm to support the extra 2 titles and points up into the air with the other hand. A blast of pyro going off behind her as she makes her way down the entryway, greeting fans and the like before reaching the ring and climbing the stairs up onto the apron. She climbs into the ring between the 2nd and 3rd rope. She then lays the 2 4WW titles over the turnbuckle before unhooking the Valor Championship and holding it up before she hands it to the referee. Ben Price, neither coming down with any other members of their stables. A truly honorable fight is about to happen here tonight. Eddie Vega, until Salazar dips back into trying to give Dresden a concussion. He'll likely do more damage than Frank Windsor did if you give him the chance. Ben Price, he's not done anything like that after the one instance. Since he's formed up with Bad Company and the Reinhardts, he's been quite the honorable fighter. Eddie Vega, except helping to steal the Conquest title from Rob Riot. Ben Price, he and Cronin Reinhardt beat Riot at his own game. Eric Wilson, your referee for this match, CWF Senior Referee, Scott Jones. Jones calls both to the center and then checks both for illegal objects. He then runs down the rules for both. He asks for both to shake hands, and Salazar is the first to offer his. Dresden takes it and both shake before Jones counts to 3 and signals for the match to start. Ding! Ding! Both step into the center of the ring. Salazar extends his hand for a fist bump, which Abby takes. As soon as their little show of respect is done, Salazar grabs Dresden by the arm and whips her to the ropes. He runs in behind her and catches her close to the ropes, her coming off and him coming in with a kitchen sink type knee lift. She doesn't flip over, but more stops and falls to one side. Salazar then hops up to the second rope and comes off with what looks like a double foot stomp, but Dresden rolls quickly out of the way. Ben Price and GMS catching Abby Dresden with a bit of a surprise there. But the show of respect is something we're not used to, even in a Valor title matchup. Eddie Vega, it's sickening, actually. Dresden starts to come up as GMS moves in. The camera picks up as she watches him, her eyes on him, but her face appearing to be looking somewhere else. When he reaches out to grab her by her neck or hair, she pops up and catches him with a European uppercut that has maybe a bit more forearm in it than bicep. As soon as Salazar falls back a bit on that, she comes off the ropes with a clothesline she hops up just a little bit with, taking GMS down to the mat. Ben Price, and the Valor champion, surprises the veteran a bit as well. When GMS rolls to come up to his hands and knees to get up, Dresden tries to go for what looks like her Celtic clutch, but Salazar uses his feet to roll over her and keep going, breaking the hold. As they both come up again, he slips behind Dresden and hooks her into a full Nelson. Instead of falling forward for his finisher, he picks her up and then drops her as he goes to one knee, letting her land in a backbreaker. Salazar then backs off and crouches down a bit, getting ready for her when she comes up. Eddie Vega, not going for a pinfall there? Ben Price, even he knows she's tougher than that. Dresden takes a moment, favoring her lower back, where the last move hit. She looks around a bit, looking to see where her opponent is at, and when she sees him, he moves in. His foot goes up high, almost vertical for an axe kick, but Dresden saw it coming. She kips up to her feet, and isn't there when it hits. She follows up with a kick to his midsection, and hooks his head for a snap-style DDT. She goes for a quick pinfall. 1. Salazar kicks out, tossing his smaller opponent off of him, over his head. He then does his own kip up to his feet. Ben Price, so far, very evenly matched. Eddie Vega, waiting on someone to cheat here. Salazar would do it to try to claim a title, while Dresden has it in both sides of her DNA. Ben Price, well, not seen her mother do much cheating as of late. Even back at Urban Warfare. Eddie Vega, she hit Eddie Samo in the head with a metal bucket full of my vomit at Naval Warfare, though. Ben Price, well, point. Worst weapon anyone has ever used. But it was in the first Elite X match, it wasn't against the rules to use that. Eddie Vega, point returned. That's why Valora Salinas does all the hardcore stuff. So she can cheat, legally. In the ring, GMS and Dresden both come up to their feet, Dresden a little quicker. She breaks into a run, and hits the ropes, coming off. GMS ducks, letting her miss another clothesline attempt. When she hits the ropes and comes back off, he catches her in a pop-up. He goes for the follow-up elbow, but she gets her arms up to block her face getting hit with it. Ben Price and Dresden had him scouted again. As she recovers, her face still partially covered, GMS slips behind her and hooks her into a half Nelson. Eddie Vega, and here comes that stupid suplex. He tries to hook her leg for the ring toss, but she grabs the top rope with her other hand. As soon as he pulls up and doesn't get what he wants, he quickly changes it up and drops down into his sniper shot backstabber. He moves to cover for a pinfall. 1. 2. Dresden gets her foot on the ropes and manages to get a hand up to point to it. Ben Price, that one was close. Eddie Vega, Dresden showing some ring presence here of someone with at least 3 more years of experience. GMS pulls Dresden up by her head. She suddenly snaps up and pushes his hands away. She then spins around and hits him with a Pele kick. GMS falls backwards with the hit until he reaches the ropes on the other side. Dresden moves in and grabs GMS, whipping him to the other side. She lets him hit before she comes off the ropes. GMS suddenly leaps up and flips long ways, bringing a foot down to the side of Dresden's neck and shoulder with a running corkscrew kick. She rolls backwards with it and comes back up to one knee, while GMS lands as you'd expect from the way he flipped. Ben Price, and while it looks like that hurt, not sure it had the effect GMS wanted there. Dresden goes to the ropes near where GMS landed. She pulls back the top rope, launches herself up a bit, and then springboards off the second into a moonsault that lands across his back as he's getting up. She quickly pops back up to her feet, and then steps over him as he starts to get up. Eddie Vega, I think she's wanting to finish this match off. Dresden gets set up, letting GMS come up under her, looking to go for the swan song. Salazar goes for what everyone would be expecting in this situation, and brings his foot back for the scorpion kick, but Dresden catches the foot and holds onto it. Ben Price, she had him scouted. She's blocked the scorpion kick. Eddie Vega, well, she makes history on that one. Ben Price, yeah, some people keep getting hit with that no matter how many times they try. Salazar feels his leg get grabbed and no impact takes place on the kick. He drops down to his elbows when he feels Dresden start to transition to something like an ankle lock. He then twists and rolls, trying to take her down with it and trying to grab her leg, but she lets him go and steps out of a possible hold. Salazar spins as he comes up to one knee and looks at her, a smile on his face. Ben Price, counter for counter. Wait, what's this? A commotion comes across the crowd as someone walks out from the back, but not through the regular ramp entrance, one of the side entrances. It's Rob Riot! Ben Price, what is Rob Riot doing out here? Eddie Vega, well, maybe he's taking the chiding by our new creative director to heart and taking some interest in his daughter's career? Ben Price, not likely. Both combatants look in the direction of the commotion. Dresden gives a very obvious eye roll, while Greg Salazar, for his part, also notes the new arrival and turns to the ref, who tells the two fighters to get back to the match. Trying to do just that, GMS grabs Abby from behind and tries once more for his full Nelson hold, but Abigail knows what's coming and elbows GMS in the gut before turning to face him, getting a hold of him and putting him on the mat with a belly-to-belly suplex. Rob Riot smirks as he watches, applauding the move. Both quickly scramble back up to their feet. GMS circles around the ring a bit, nodding to Dresden first. As he passes by where Riot is standing, he makes sure to give him the British version of the finger salute. Ben Price, looks like Greg Salazar tried to go to the well one too many times and Abigail was able to show some technical skill and bring him to the mat with a belly-to-belly suplex. Eddie Vega, her father, certainly seemed to approve. In the ring, Greg paces around and then decides to apparently continue to test Abigail's defenses by coming in and throwing a few martial arts strikes Abby's way. She parries most of them, while turning to dodge a couple more before finally dropping into a split-legged position and rolling off to GMS' side as he tries a roundhouse kick. Ben Price, once again, Abigail makes use of her training. The split-legged move she learned from her mother, no doubt, and maybe it's just me, but it looks like Tetsu Oni4 has been helping Abby as well. She matched Greg's strikes as if she knew what was coming and how to deal with it. Eddie Vega, I would make a comment here, but her mother is my boss and her father is within striking distance of me. In the ring, Greg seems to be thinking the same thing Ben Price is as he nods. He comes in with another flurry, though this time, he picks up the speed and makes a few adjustments and catches the younger, less experienced fighter off guard as a couple of body blows score and an uppercut sends Abigail to the mat. She rolls out of the ring to regroup and catch her breath. Ben Price, Abigail slowing the pace down. I don't think we've ever seen this before. Eddie Vega, well, you always say she's learning. Maybe she's finally learned that when you get your bell rung, it's not a bad idea to take a few seconds, regroup, catch your breath, and try again. Rob Riot actually nods his approval as Abby slows the pace down. Rob Riot, good lass. Make him fight your fight. Abigail glares at her father and points at him. Abigail Dresden, don't even think of getting involved. Rob Riot raises his hands and walks over to Abigail, talking in her ear. Abigail is obviously worried but listens and blinks in surprise, looking up at GMS, and Rob Riot nods. Abigail shakes her head as if unsure about whatever she was told but rolls back into the ring. Coming to her feet, she ducks and attempts to grapple as GMS charges in. She grabs him as if to go for a German suplex but moves with his charges and lets him hit the ropes and then rolls through before picking him up and hitting a rolling Chaos Theory-style German suplex. Ben Price, the Swansea suplex. I think that's the first time we've seen Abigail hit that move. Eddie Vega, look at Riot's face. That must be what he told Abigail. In the ring, Abigail seems surprised that she was able to hit the move properly while Riot shouts for her to make the pin. Shrugging, Abby does so and Scott Jones slides in to make the count. 1, 2. GMS kicks out, breaking the pin emphatically. Both fighters get to their feet and GMS is able to force the grapple this time. As soon as she's pulled into the grapple, Abigail's feet plant themselves about shoulder width apart to give herself a stronger base. GMS tries a couple of times but eventually gets Abby up and plants her with a belly-to-belly suplex. At ringside, Riot sighs and shakes his head. Meanwhile, GMS pulls Abigail up to her feet, but she cuts him off with a jawbreaker before planting him with a DDT. Abigail sits up and, not done yet, hops to her feet and takes a spot in the corner, measure Salazar. Riot gets a truly evil smirk on his face as he seems to know what's coming. GMS gets to his feet and turns to face Abby just in time to get hit with a super kick that stuns him, sending his head rocking back and turning him around and sending him stumbling back a few feet. Abby charges and trying for the Welsh Dragon kick, but GMS drops to the mat and avoids it, planting Abby face first on the mat with a bulldog when she lands. Ben Price super kick. One of Rob Riot's signature moves, and I have to say, Abigail delivered it a lot like her father. She's obviously studied Riot's matches to get that. Eddie Vega, yeah, but you can only learn so much from tape, Benny boy. If Rob Riot had trained his daughter, that super kick might be a fight ender. Ben Price, well, hard to argue with that. Still, these two fighters are really giving us a worthy main event. Both fighters get back to their feet and Abby comes in and throws a punch which GMS blocks and then transitions smoothly into a military-style hip toss that brings Abby to the mat. GMS locks in a sleeper hold and Abigail struggles. As the two struggle, Abby sees the ropes and jumps, grabbing the rope with her legs, and Scott Jones comes in and forces the break. Ben Price, GMS showing more veteran experience here, though Abigail did find a creative way out of the sleeper hold. Eddie Vega, looking over at her father, it seems he approves. Ben Price, pretty sure he'll approve of anything that makes Greg Salazar look bad. Both grab each other and try to whip to the ropes, trading who is ahead of the whip until it appears Dresden gets the upper hand. She sends Salazar to the ropes and then launches herself backwards for a run. Ben Price, trying to see who gets the upper hand here. As both of them come off the ropes, Dresden manages to jump up and catch Salazar with a head scissors and take him down to the mat. She moves quickly and wraps herself around him, trying to lock in her version of the Koji clutch, what she calls the Celtic clutch. Scott Jones is there to ask Salazar if he gives up. Salazar shakes his head no, and starts to try to twist his hips to reposition. Ben Price, Celtic clutch. Is she going to get Salazar to tap out? Eddie Vega, I'll admit, I'd love to see that. Salazar is trying to fight it. He manages to get a hand up behind her knee, easing some of the pressure. He works his way up to his knees and manages to apparently get her shoulders down. Scott Jones is there, and checks, then starts to count. 1, 2. Dresden kicks out, mostly by releasing the hold and twisting her body. Ben Price, that was close. A near fall by the former Conquest champion. Eddie Vega, if he was Tetsuo Oni, he was 2 Conquest champions ago. We can stop calling him the former. Rob Riot is the former, after it was stolen from him. Both combatants scramble to their feet. Salazar steps in as Dresden is still slightly bent over. He grabs her head and pulls her into a knee lift. She falls back to the ropes. As she comes off the ropes, Salazar grabs her into a full Nelson. Ben Price, can he hit it? Suddenly Rob Riot yells out something. Rob Riot, Jones! As he does, he reaches in with both hands and pulls Abby Dresden's feet out from under her. She falls to the mat, breaking the hold, barely having time to catch herself to keep from going face first, unprotected. Scott Jones quickly signals for the bell. Ding! 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 Ben Price, what happened? Why did the bell ring? Greg Salazar turns around and stares Riot down. Riot stands there with a smug look on his face. Dresden gets up to her feet to spin around. When she sees Riot standing there, she actually lunges at the ropes, trying to get him. But he turns around and motions to her. Ben Price, what did he just do? Eddie Vega, he saved his daughter's title reign for at least one more match. Ben Price, that's why he called out Scott Jones' name before he did it. Eric Wilson, the referee, has disqualified Greg Salazar due to outside interference under the Valor Division rules. The winner of this match and still Valor champion, Abigail Dresden. Suddenly Bring It by Trap starts to play over the PA system. Ben Price, and here comes Valora Salinas. Valora comes out from the back. She's quick down the ramp and enters the ring. She immediately walks over to Jones and tells him to hold on for a moment. Dresden is still complaining and sending insults towards Riot at ringside as Greg Salazar leaves that area to go talk to Salinas. Ben Price, what's going on here? We've got the new creative director out here, and she's talking to everyone in the ring. The referee, and now Greg Salazar. Eddie Vega, I don't know, but I hope she's not about to ruin this by doing something like restarting the match. Rules are rules, right? As the camera tries to get in closer to Salinas and Salazar as they're talking, the mic doesn't pick it up, but Salazar shakes his head to the negative. He then says something to Salinas and she nods, and then looks in Riot's direction. She visibly sighs, and then pulls out one of the production radios and starts to talk into it as she signals to the ringside attendant to bring Salazar a microphone. Greg Salazar steps over to the ropes and takes the mic. He then steps over to Dresden, making sure she sees him in her peripheral vision before he taps her on the shoulder. Then he starts to address her first. Greg Salazar, Abby, there are some in the back that'll know what this means. He then almost snaps to attention and bows to her about halfway down. He then continues. Greg Salazar, Valora came out here and offered to restart the match. Because what he just did. But I've refused. Rules of the game. I'm not going to be a hypocrite as much as he'd like to make me into one. Valor title rules. You win. But you need to make me a promise. You're going to be the next one that beats the 5 defense rule. Abby nods at that, and then gives Riot a bit of side eye. Ben Price, Valora Salinas offered to restart the match, but he refused. Eddie Vega, why? Ben Price, honor? Eddie Vega, no honor amongst thieves, and he's already helped steal a title from Rob Riot. Greg Salazar, hey, Riot, way to teach her something finally. Although so far all you and Windsor have tried to teach her is that British wrestlers have to cheat to win. Not a lesson I think she appreciates. However, it's very fitting that you just saved me from having to defend the Valor title at Shadow Warfare. Ben Price, I wonder where this is going. Greg Salazar, what some don't know is that this isn't the first time Abby and I have faced each other in the ring. Eddie Vega, what? Greg Salazar, the last time? Was in London, England. Not an hour or so before you had a match with that big oaf that led to you beating him, and now being handed that 4WW strap. Now let's see if Valora's call to the back can get this queued up on the big screen. As he says this, the screen over the stage comes to life. It shows the footage shown on Vanguard, with Abby Dresden taking the second place in a certain Rumble match from that pay-per-view that won't be aired. It's from a different angle, and this time it shows that the guy she had been working with to toss out all of the other federations people had been Greg Salazar. It shows when she catches the top rope, as they eliminate the last non-CWF person, and then Greg Salazar executing the leg sweep under the bottom rope that knocks her off the apron. The footage cuts off just as the referee in that match raises Salazar's hand as the winner. Greg Salazar, so now Abby and I are 1-1, technically. One day we'll break that tie. But not today. Rules of the game. But, Rob, that Rumble match had a prize. It had a couple of prizes. And Abby has been told that the second place win is hers. She gets an elite title shot when she wants it. Ben Price, oh, man. Eddie Vega, what? We've been told this. Ben Price, well, that means the 4WW and CWF is recognizing Abby Dresden's second place win. Eddie Vega, and Ben Price, well, the footage just showed Greg Salazar winning the first place prize. Eddie Vega, I don't like this. Rob Riot is shown quickly as realization might be creeping onto his face, as well. Greg Salazar, you know. We've all said it. Windsor, challenging for Cronin's belt, is going to tank the pay-per-view ratings and buy rates. Because Windsor couldn't sell out a high school gym show. So maybe we need to use the power of Rob Riot being a fighting champion? Isn't that what I heard him say in that pre-recorded stuff earlier? Ben Price, yup, that's where he's going. Eddie Vega, I don't like this. Rob Riot starts to say something, apparently trying to get Valora Salinas' attention in the ring. She's talking on the production radio, and not paying him any attention. Greg Salazar, so that Rumble's first place prize was a shot at the Triple Crown Championship. I entered that Rumble saying that I was the only one who had a chance to defeat you after you beat that big muscle-bound Pendejo. And I stand by that. I won, now I want my shot. If the 4 Wins Championship is replacing the Triple Crown title, and Abby's placement is recognized, then mine is as well. I want my shot. Co-headline at Shadow Warfare. Riot appears to be arguing that now, and he starts to look for a microphone. Greg Salazar, you know Rob. You beat Tetsuo Oni, the third. But since then I've changed. I've grown. I'm now Greg Salazar. And last time when you were the challenger, we did things your way. So I'm going to make a suggestion. We'll see how much of a fighting champion you are. 'Cause if you and I are going to be dancing partners again, let's make it worth it for the fans. Valora Salinas looks up from the radio. Ben Price, what's he going to challenge? Greg Salazar, how about we do it as last man standing? I'll give you till next Warzone to say yes or no. But after your little fighting champion outburst earlier, I'll just say, prove it. Eddie Vega, last man standing? Why? Ben Price, why not? It's no secret that these two don't like each other. Eddie Vega, this is just some plan from Armand von Kraus to go after Rob Riot. Just face it. Everyone else up there is working for Von Kraus to ruin Riot and the bastards' reputations. Ben Price, they do that just fine without Von Kraus. But that's all the time we have tonight. We'll find out what Rob Riot's answer is, maybe next Warzone. Eddie Vega, wait, we're cutting away? Ben Price, we have to. So a real quick remember to hashtag. The camera gets a shot over Rob Riot's shoulder, looking up into the ring as Abby is starting to talk with her mother, and Greg Salazar is standing there looking down at Riot. Both join the conquest.